You know what's terrifying? Realizing that your salary went up, but your stress went up even more. There's a moment that happens to a lot of people in America that nobody talks about openly. It's the moment when you finally reach an income level you once dreamed about. And instead of feeling relieved, you feel heavier. Not because you're spending wildly, not because you're irresponsible, but because the reality of modern life quietly expands to consume every extra dollar you earn. This doesn't happen overnight. It happens slowly, almost invisibly. First, your rent increases slightly, then your health insurance costs rise. Your car maintenance gets more expensive. Groceries creep upward, taxes adjust, subscriptions accumulate. Each individual change feels small and manageable, but together, they form a system that constantly resets your financial comfort back to zero. And this creates a deeply confusing emotional experience. You're technically doing better than ever before, but internally, you don't feel stable. You don't feel secure. You don't feel like you can relax. Instead, you feel like you're running on a treadmill that speeds up every time you try to move forward. The hardest part is that this experience often comes with silent guilt. People feel like they shouldn't complain because they earn more than they used to. They feel ashamed to admit they still worry about money. So they stay quiet. And that silence makes the problem feel personal, even though it's incredibly widespread. What's really happening is something economists and psychologists both understand. Lifestyle systems expand to absorb available resources. Not because people are careless, but because modern financial environments are designed around continuous consumption and rising costs. Stability isn't built into the system. It has to be created intentionally. Most people assume financial progress means increasing income. But in reality, true progress often comes from reducing the number of things that require your income to remain stable. Every fixed expense is a commitment from your future self. Every subscription is a small promise that tomorrow's paycheck will already be partially spent. And when enough of those promises accumulate, even a high salary starts to feel fragile. This is why people who earn $70,000, $90,000, even $120,000 a year can still feel anxious every month. Not because they're failing, but because their financial structure demands constant performance just to maintain normal life. Real security begins when you shift the focus away from how much you earn and toward how much freedom your income actually provides. Freedom isn't measured by numbers on a paycheck. It's measured by how many months you could survive if your income stopped tomorrow. And that's the uncomfortable question most people avoid asking themselves. Not because they don't care, but because the answer often reveals how fragile their situation really is. Understanding this doesn't mean giving up on earning more. It means recognizing that income alone is not the solution. The real solution lies in building resilience, creating space between your earnings and your obligations so that money becomes a tool, not a constant source of pressure. Because earning more should feel like relief. And when it doesn't, that's not a sign you're failing. It's a sign that the system you're operating in needs to change.